Hello folks, good morning. Yes, as you guys can see, I am making a response to the question of the week number 41. If you haven't seen this video where the question was posed, as usual, I'm going to post this as a response to it, and feel free to make a video response or comment if you would like. So, interesting title, I know, The Spirit of a Baby. And I'm actually quoting someone. Someone used this in one of my previous videos. I can't remember the name of the video I made, but this person said, yeah, keep the spirit of a baby. And I really do like it, so I want to use it here for this video response. So let me go ahead and read his question, and then I will give my response. So, Moses, just wondering, have you ever listened to so much of the language that you find yourself saying or thinking of words that you have heard, but really don't know the meaning of them yet? Is this normal when learning a language, or is this too much listening that I am doing? And this question was posed by our buddy Damien Jr. All right. So, Mr. Jr., I'm gonna start off and say that, of course, this is normal, and I'm going to share my experience. All right. So, I'm going to use Cantonese since it's my favorite language. I want to use this as one of the languages I spent a lot of time listening to when I started back in, what was it? I can't remember. It's the 2000, I think it was in the 2010 or something like that. Can't remember the exact time, but yeah, when I started learning Cantonese, I started with this book here. I talked about it in the past. I used Teach Yourself. This is actually Complete Cantonese, the newer version. I went through this entire book, and actually I intend to go through it again. I'm actually halfway through it for the second time. So this is a good book for those of you who are interested in learning Cantonese, by the way, for beginners. Okay, so this is the book I started off with, and as you guys know, in a course like Teach Yourself, you're going to learn a lot of formalities, not so much colloquialisms. All right. So I went through that book. I listened to the dialogues over and over again, as usual, and I understood a lot of the material. Now, after I went through the course, I started watching authentic material such as Hong Kong TV, random videos on YouTube, podcasts, a whole lot of podcasts, and I did this every day and all day. I mean, even when I took a shower, I would listen to the podcast. And my wife, there were times when she asked, she said, why do you keep listening to that? I mean, I was like a madman when I was doing this Cantonese hardcore. So the exposure is very, very important. I believe that the more exposure you have, the more comfortable you become with the sounds, the accent, the pronunciation, etc. So what you're doing is actually exposing yourself to a lot of the language, okay? And I think it's a good thing. There is no such thing as too much listening. All right. Now, to finish on what I was about to say with the Cantonese, when I started getting into the television, authentic material, there were certain words that I would hear over and over again. I mean, in everything I watched or listened to, podcasts, videos, there were certain words I heard that were just stuck in my head. I didn't really know the meaning of them. And like I said, I was coming from the Teach Yourself. And when you're getting into authentic material, you're gonna hear some colloquialisms, some contractions of certain words. So, for example, one of the words I heard, pretty simple, but it was from, well, first of all, the one I learned from Teach Yourself was Hayam Haya, Hayam Haya, Hayam Haya. Like, it's like, isn't it not, or isn't it so, or something like that. But this one I heard, like, from the podcast and the videos, the movies, they would say "Hai mai," like I would hear "Hai mai, hai mai, hai mai, hai mai," and I thought I knew what it meant because I know "Hai mai" is like really, but it didn't sound exactly like "Hai mai." They were saying "Hai mai, hai mai." I was like, what is this dude saying? I take showers, hearing it. It's like, I don't know what this is. I find out what it is. But I didn't really worry about it because I knew eventually I will come to the point of understanding that word. So that word, and then there was another word. Um, excuse me. Another word, they say "yeah" at the beginning of the sentence. "Yeah," blah, blah. They say "yeah." They say that first, and then they'll start going. They start talking. It's like "yeah," and start explaining whatever it is they're explaining. And I would hear that over and over again. And again, just like, hey man, I didn't know what it meant. So yeah, I think it was like a few months later, I started to understand what it meant after I got this book here, this Wedding Bells. And this is for intermediate and advanced learners. Okay, Wedding Bells, very good book, by the way, if you guys are interested in going to, you know, if you're finishing up, teach yourself, and you're trying to find intermediate materials, look into these. They're basically stories, and they're intermediate and advanced level. Okay, so once I started using this book, I started learning more colloquialisms and contractions. I have some other books. I made videos in the past, but they're on the same level. So they introduce a lot of contractions, and what I mean by contraction is just like how I explained, the hayam haya, you can actually cut it off and say haimai. You can cut that in half. That's a contraction, and I didn't start learning about those until I started using the intermediate material. Now, again, I did hear them in those videos, but I had no idea what they meant. So once I saw them in the book, I was like, wow, this is, you know, I was very motivated, very, very, very motivated. Like, wow, I finally found out what that meant. Finally. And then I started using it because I was afraid to use it. Like, I wanted to use it with natives just to see. I wanted to make a mistake because that's normally what I like to do. When I learn certain words, I like to use them with native speakers and see if they're used correctly and get corrected. And I was scared to use those words because I didn't really, I heard them at, like, I heard that one word at the beginning of a sentence, then I would hear haimai at the end, but I was still afraid to use it. I wasn't sure when to use it, so I just decided to wait. So once I saw them in the book, I got really excited, motivated, and I wanted to watch more Hong Kong TV. I want to listen to more and more podcasts and do this thing. I just got real crazy with Cantonese. So it's a very normal thing, even for children. If you look at, you know, when we grew up as children, we, you know, 5, 6 years old, we listen to our family members talk, parents, you know, relatives. We don't understand everything they're saying unless they, you know, speaking on a level, on our level, baby talk or children talk, you know. But when they switch to, you know, we're around other adults and they start speaking on a different level, we don't understand what they're saying, but eventually we will come to the point of understanding. It just, you know, you just have to stay exposed to it. And this is something that everyone has to do when they learn a foreign language. So, yeah. And yeah, I should also mention that as a father raising 2 girls, I'm experiencing this myself. Just, you know, months ago, the girls that we would use certain things every day, and they would look at us like, okay, what does that mean? They didn't understand what it meant. But now it's like they're responding, they're reacting to certain things that we've been using the whole time, but they didn't quite understand it. So, like, for example, when it's time to like, my wife, she speaks to them in Chinese, and, you know, she'll say something like 换尿布睡觉, you know, 时间到你们要睡觉. She say something like that, change the, like, when we 换尿布, we want to change the diaper and it's time for you guys to go to bed. Like, before, she used to use that and they didn't really react to it. They just say, you know, just looking around, okay, whatever. But now they start crying because they know that it's time to go to bed and they're not ready to go to bed. So before, we will change them and then put them inside their crib, then they will start crying because they know it's time for bed. But now, once we tell them that we want to change their diaper and put them to bed, or it's time to go to bed, then they will just start crying. So there it is. There it is. The exposure and just the constant listening, constant hearing things over and over again, coming to the point of understanding. So that is pretty much it. That is my response to your question. I hope the other responses were helpful to you, and I hope you continue in this way. I believe you're learning Tagalog, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think you're learning Tagalog. So Keep it up, man. Just keep going. Keep that spirit of a baby. Don't worry too much. Just keep it going, and yeah, eventually you'll be successful. You'll understand a lot more than you did when you first started. So that is it. And again, if you guys haven't seen this video, I will post this or the question where the video where this question was posed. I'll post this as a response to it. You guys will check it out. Make a video response, comment, whatever you would like to do. So if that is it, that is my response. I think I covered everything. Thanks for viewing, and have a good one.